sites as well. One of my favorite toolkits is the iFixit Protect toolkit. This is just the driver set that comes out of the Protect toolkit. I keep this separate because I use it the most. That's one of the great things about this kit though, is this entire driver kit right here has a magnet on it, and it is magnetized to the inside of the case of the Protect toolkit. This is the rest of the kit right here. And right on the back is a large magnet, and this fits right there, just like that, and it stays on nice and solid. And then it has magnets that go on the lid. So the lid just stays on there, magnetized as well. The Protect toolkit also comes with all of these other tools, including pry tools and spudgers and a suction cup to remove screens and stuff like that. I don't use those quite as often, so I just remove this, set all the rest of the kit aside for when I'm not using it, and then I have my driver and bit set just right there handy when I need it. You can go to ifixit.com/electronicsfix to get any of the tools you've seen here, along with any of the soldering tools that you'll need for your repairs as well. Now let's get the perfect amount of liquid metal applied, and then we can install this board into the rest of the console and see if it works. I'm going to be using Conductonaut liquid metal for this application. I'm going to spread a good amount on here, and then we'll spread it around with the swabs they include. So we just want to rub it into the top of the APU. Just like that. Now these PS5s, they take quite a bit of this stuff. So we want to make sure and put plenty of it on here. And now with that part done, we can work on the heatsink side. I'm just going to put a tiny bit on this because we have enough on the ECU that is spread around just fine. But spreading a little bit on here will make sure that the two surfaces mate well and they come in contact with each other and transfer easily well. And there we have the perfect amount of liquid metal. Now let's get this thing back together. We can test it and see if it's going to work. So it is all back together. It's all plugged in. Well, let's see if it's going to show anything on the screen. Okay, we got a fan. We got a light. Okay, white light. Let's see if it shows anything on the screen. Oh, here we go. Come on. Yeah! There we go. So this PS5 is now fixed. It was definitely a repair, but easily perfect, because now this PS5 can go out in the world and live a nice full life. If you like this type of video, you'll probably like the video where I tried to fix another PS5 that was ran over by an angry girlfriend. I'll put that video up on your screen now, so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I can fix that one. Thank you again to iFixit for sponsoring this video. Go to ifixit.com/electronicsfix to get any tools, repair guides, or parts that you need for your devices. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one. The seller says there are 4 repair technicians getting out of the business. He thinks there are 2 complete and 1 partial here. Looks like he was focusing on fixing white-lighted PS4s. I have a great record in white-lighted PS4s, so I'm hoping we can fix all 3 of these. Let's get the box opened up and see what we got. This video is sponsored by Whatnot. More on them in a minute. Now, I was buying these from a random seller on eBay, but apparently he's a fan of the channel. So thanks, Joel, for selling me your PS4s. I hope I can fix it for you. Lots of packing paper. That's always nice to see. Now the seller said all of the disk drives are included, but unfortunately they're not currently matched up with the PS4s they came in, and PS4 motherboards disk drives are a match set, so you can't mix and match them, so I'm gonna have to figure out which disk drive goes with which motherboard. I always appreciate when eBay sellers take pride in what they're doing and package things nicely. Okay, and let's have a look at can already see we've got some work on this HDMI chip over here. HDMI port is missing, which is fine. Obviously, we're going to need to put in the perfect amount of thermal paste on these. That was probably the only problem with these. And another board. This one has the HDMI port still. So looks like it's been replaced. It's at least been heated around here. I'm not sure if the chip itself has been replaced. And then we have the last board. This HDMI port has been replaced, and the chip has also been replaced. Like, now that we got these all unboxed, we just need to pick one to start with, and I'm going to pick the one that has the HDMI port missing. Let's start with this board and see if we can fix number one. So on this PS4 motherboard, the first thing I noticed, other than the fact that the HDMI port is missing, is we have 1, 2, 3, 4 little components right over here that are missing. So we'll need to install those. And then we need to inspect this chip and solder all around it to make sure that all is good. I don't think this one's been replaced. It looks like none of the solder has been redone. So I don't think the chip itself has been replaced. But let's first get started by installing the HDMI. Now these are the HDMI ports that the seller sent with the console. And these are actually brand new ports, but if you notice, on this one there's kind of some solder stuck to these mounting pins. So what it looks like is the seller probably tried to install these, but it looks like they didn't get very far. And judging by the condition of this solder, I think the reason they didn't is because they didn't have enough heat on the board. So I'm going to use my hot air soldering station and show you what that looks like. And now you can see the mounting pins have rounded off nicely. The solder fully melted and bonded to the pins and the board itself. So now the pins on here nice and tight. And looking on the top side, all the pins on the board are lined up nicely with the pads on the board. Now we just need to get under a microscope and solder each of these pins to the corresponding pad. Now in order to solder each of these pins on, I'm going to come through and put some flux on each of these pins. Flux just helps the solder flow. So once I touch my iron to the pin, the solder on my iron will stick to the pin, and that will also stick to the pad on the board. So I have to do that for each of these 19 small pins. Once I'm done with that, then we'll get to replacing these components over here on the edge. Now during this repair, you'll notice that I bridged some of the pins. So in order to remove some of that solder, I just came in with a little bit of solder wick and kind of sucked it up. But then that actually removed a little too much solder. So then I had to go back in with my small soldering iron and add a little bit of solder to the pin and the pad. And that created a nice strong joint. Then all there was left to do was give it a good cleaning and test all the pins. So now we need to install these components right here on this board, and we're going to remove those from this donor board. I'm going to be using my hot air solder. This video is sponsored by iFixit. I bought 13 broken PS5s to see if I could fix them because I'm an idiot and because I make bad decisions. But either way, it's time to see if I can fix them, and I'll be answering your questions along the way. But first I need to test them and see what's all wrong. So here we go with PS5 number 1. I first need to check the ports, see if there's anything wrong there, and everything here looks good. HDMI port's good, USB ports are good, so now I'm going to plug it in and see if it turns on and see if the disk drive works. And here we go with PS5 number 1. Let's see if the power's on. Okay, all good so far. Next I'm going to test the disk drive, then we'll get it all set up and see if all the software works. All sounds good so far. And once again, so far everything's working fine. I have a disk inside installing Horizon Zero Dawn, and so far it's installing fine. I have it fully updated. I'm signed into PSN, so I know it's not blocked. So everything on PS5 number 1 is working fine. Which brings me to my first question that I get all the time. How is it that I buy salvage broken items and they end up working just fine? So I buy my salvage items from online liquidation websites. If you just type in liquidation websites in Google, you'll find a whole list of them, and that's where I buy my items. Now, the stuff that I usually buy has not been taken apart by anyone. It's just been tested, and for some reason, they've decided that it's faulty. Now, in some cases, and we'll see how many out of this lot are not broken at all, but in some cases, there's nothing actually wrong. Maybe they just thought there was something wrong, and there actually wasn't. Maybe they didn't even have time to test it. I don't really know why, but for some reason they put working items into salvage lots. Now that sounds great and all, but the problem with that from a buyer's perspective is the items are very expensive for things that are salvaged, because a lot of these PS5s are most likely going to be broken and take some repair. And the ones that take repair, I'm not going to have any parts for. A lot of them I might not even be able to fix because I have nowhere to get parts for them. How much did I pay for these PS5s? I'll get into that in just a minute. Right now, I'm going to finish testing PS5 number 1 and see if there's anything that ends up being wrong with it. So while this game is installing on PS5 number 1, I'm actually going to start checking out PS5 number 2 and just let this one install.
Listen, you pay $14.99 a month for a streaming app, and $9.99 a month for a music app, and $12.99 for a fitness app, and more money for a bunch of other apps. That really adds up. So why not get YouTube Premium for just $13.99? It's like having all those and the entire world of YouTube uninterrupted. Your wallet will thank you, if wallets could talk. YouTube Premium. Try 1 month free.
And I already see what's wrong with PS5 number 2. We got a bad HDMI port. That one's easy to figure out. Let's move on to PS5 number 3. And the port on PS5 number 3 looks fine, so I'm going to plug it in, see what it does.
He got wrapped
installing the game, and I'm getting the update installed on PS5 number 3. And PlayStation number 3 is all set up. Let's test the disk drive here. Takes it in. Shows up here. Spins up. And it shows up on the screen. I'm going to get this installed and test it out, then we'll check out number 1 and see if we can play the game there. So another question I want to answer is why I would do this. And my simple answer is I believe in repair, and I enjoy repair, and I enjoy making videos for you guys to watch. I think that it's way better to fix the things we have rather than go out and just buy new stuff and throw the old stuff away. That's ultimately why I started this channel and why I buy stuff like this, even though on paper sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense. On this particular lot, I think it makes a lot of sense because I think I will still make money, even though some of these are going to be broken and I'm going to have to try and fix them, and probably some of them won't be fixable at all. So it looks like this one's all ready to try. I did install a small game onto this one because I don't want to install huge games on all of them because that will take quite a while. So I'm going to test it on a smaller game. So number 3 seems to work perfectly. I see no problems at all. Now, obviously, I haven't tested this long term, and I don't plan on testing each one of these long term. That would take hours and hours and hours. So instead, what I'm going to do is when I list these for sale, I'm just going to say that I haven't tested these long term. I'll list out the things I know about it and the things I don't know about it. That way, the buyer knows exactly what's been tested and what hasn't, and then they can spend accordingly. Now that I'm done testing this one, I'm going to get it reset to factory settings so it's all ready for the new owner. It sounds like number 1 is done installing, so let's check the game on number 1. Okay, we do have a problem with number 1. It just freezes on the game, and there's no inputs, like the controller just can't do anything with the controller, and it's just stuck on the screen. See what happens if I take the disc out. Okay, the disc is coming out. Oh, here we go. Something went wrong with this game or app. So I'm going to save number 1 for later. We'll try and install a different game. Right now, let's move on to number 4. While the software is updating on number 4, let's talk about price. I paid $550 for each of these PlayStation 5s, and they don't even come with the controller. That's what I was talking about prices being high for this type of salvage merchandise, because even though there are some that are broken, and probably a lot of them, there will be some of these that aren't broken at all. And like I said, the other advantage is these have not been taken apart in most cases, unless they were taken apart by the person who bought it. In most cases, these haven't been taken apart by a repair person, and repairs have not been attempted. So because of those things, prices are super high for this type of device, even though a lot of them are actually broken. And the last question everyone has about the PS5s is where can they buy one from me? I'll get into that here in just a minute. This one's almost updated, so let's finish testing it. And PS5 number 4 also seems to be working great, so I'm going to get it reset and then start on PS5 number 5. So number 5 is still installing the disc. PS5 number 6 has kind of like it's kind of like glitching. the display will just blink for just a second at a time. I'm not really doing it right now. It could be just a dirty HDMI port, so I'll clean that out while I'm testing it, but number 6 could be a problem. So number 5 is also fine. I see no problem with it, so let's move on and keep testing PS5 number 6. So now you can see PS5 number 6 is having some major graphical issues. I think this is probably a major problem. I'm guessing it's probably even a GPU issue. I'm going to put a game in and see if it gets worse or see if it stays the same. And now the screen has totally blacked out. It's got report a problem, but you can't even read it. So I think this is probably bad news for PS5 number 6. Let's move on to PS5 number 7. So PS5 number 8 beeps, but doesn't actually turn all the way on, so I'm going to be looking at that one later. Number 7 should be almost done installing the disc. We can test the game on that one and see if it's all working. And number 7 is also having a problem with the game or app, so I'll be taking a look at that one later. Let's take a look at PS5 number 9.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm using AI to choose my makeup. I know you're thinking, how on earth do you do that? Well, I'll tell you. In partnership with Microsoft, I'm going to be having the app Copilot choose my makeup. I'm going to be sending Copilot a picture of my bare face and asking it to create a makeup look based on my features and what it recommends, and we're going to follow along as it is a tutorial. Shall we get started? Okay, so I'm going to start by taking a picture of my face and sending it into Copilot. So let's take a little picture. I'm a little sunburned right now. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing. Y'all, I don't know how to not make that duck face when I take photos. I don't know. I just always do. Okay, let's send that, and then that looks so busted with that photo. Oh my gosh, looks so funny. Yeah, actually, I was about to ask you, so your opinion on, based on the photo I sent you, what should I do to create a glam makeup look that is like my face and, you know, just like makes the most sense? What do you think, Copilot?
For glam, concealer to your face, focus on your skin, boldness, and polished looks. Start with the cleanest package. It can work to accentuate cheekbones. For the eyes, focus on the flashes to make your color finish and color that complements your skin color. What do you think?
I love this review of some options of what foundations you have. Could you give your response on what you think would be best for my skin type? I have dry skin.
So just send them over and pick the best one for your dry skin to keep moving smaller skin.
Okay, let's take a photo. I'm going to show you guys the foundation options I'm going to send in the Copilot and have her pick which one she thinks will be best for my skin. And if you guys want to follow along while I do this, you can use little code here to download Copilot for yourself and ask Copilot what makeup look the best for you or anything else that you're interested in. Okay, so let's take the photo, shall we? Those little...
For dry skin, the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood filter in a skin choice. They offer
okay, perfect. Do you think that that is the best foundation I should use out of the 3 options I said?
Charlotte Tilbury's options
Okay, thank you, Copilot. Any tips on how I should apply it?
Absolutely. Center of your face and blend over.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back to ask you tips for it soon. Okay, thank you, Copilot. Okay, so you said Dan Beauty Sponge, which means I need to take my beauty sponge and be right back and wet it because it is dry. Okay, so she said to start at the center and apply out, which is the center. I'm going to do because I'm going to choose all over, like my foundation everywhere. Copilot. foundation is critical. Do we finish? I don't usually use a sponge, but I usually use a brush. But hey, we're listening to Copilot today, so that's what we're gonna do. Hey, it's natural linearity, and that usually is we're supposed to do today. These are my top 3 favorite concealers, so I'm gonna send a photo into Copilot and see which one she thinks would be best for the purposes. Let's see what you guys say. Welcome back to Boruto. Yes.
Down it under your eyes, on blemishes and redness. The tablet sponge for smooth transformation.
Okay. Based on the concealers that I sent in, which one should I use?
Concealer I can expect. Excellent coverage. Perfect for the
Okay, thank you, Copilot.
You're welcome, bro.
Alright, so she said on the top of under my eyes, like a triangle. I can't they no. So looking like, and she said, look at the unique stuff there. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Wait, this is actually so much fun. I feel like I have a new friend to get ready with. Oh, very, very nice friend. Okay. A little bit of the forehead, always itching on my forehead.
And we have yet another one that's freezing when I'm trying to play the game. So PS5 number 10 is doing that same thing that the other 2 PS5s are doing. So we'll take a look at that later. Let's move on to PS5 number 11. And for number 12, we also have major graphics problems. You can see there's little artifacts showing up on the screen, but nothing on the screen other than this black screen. So number 12 is going to need some work. Number 11, I'm just testing a game. So let's get to the last one, number 13. And here we have number 13. This is already loose. It's already missing some screws. I'm going to turn it on and see what it does. Okay, number 13 will beep once, but it doesn't actually power on. Number 11 over here all seems to be working normally. Number 13 definitely needs some work. Let's take a look at the numbers and see how many already work and how many we need to repair. So out of these 13 PS5s that I have, 4 of them already work fine, and the rest of these have various issues. I think the first one I'm going to tackle is the one where it shows that something went wrong with the game or app, because that's a problem with 3 of these PS5s. Now I know you're probably wondering, where am I going to be selling these? Well, as of the publishing date of this video, I've already sold several to my channel members and my patrons over on Patreon. As far as the rest of these PS5s go, I'm going to sell more over on Patreon and also for my channel members. I'll probably keep some around here just so I can experiment on, and then I also might throw 1 or 2 up on eBay just to see how they do on eBay. Now with that all being said, let's start the repairs. So let's start the repairs with number 1, number 7, and number 10, since they all have similar problems. Also, I did notice that I miscounted the ones where there's no problems found. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that have no problems. So let's start with number 1 and then go to these others that are all having the same problem and see if we can figure out a fix to that problem. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is rebuild the database. So I'm going to push the power button until it beeps the second time. That'll bring up safe mode, then I'll rebuild the database and test it again.
Transform your home into your sanctuary with Serena Smart Shades. Wake up with a natural transition from night to day as your room automatically fills with revitalizing daylight, gently coaxing you from sleep. No more jarring alarms or harsh overhead lights, just a tranquil start to the morning at the time of your choosing, letting natural light get you in harmony with each new day.
Why are there so many of you?
We're a blended family. My stepmom had 1 child, and then she got divorced with her ex-husband. She had these 2. They fluff and yes. And then they adopted me. Why do you have to make it all about yourself? Okay, we're starting again.
Now, while PS5 number 1 is installing the game again, let's move on to PS5 number 7 that has a very similar problem. Okay, PS5 number 7 is done reinstalling the game first, so let's try this one. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and let it do the update file, and then see if that'll help. Oh, that didn't take long. The game fully updated, and before it even started, it gave me this same error. So the next thing I'm going to try is starting this game with the Wi-Fi turned off. Okay, still gives me the error. Let's go back to PS5 number 1 and see if that one will work now. Oh, no. We didn't even get to the same spot it was last time. So it looks like PS5 number 1, PS5 number 7, and PS5 number 10 all have the same problem, and as of right now, I know nothing that can fix it. It's a software issue somewhere in the software of the PS5. I'm going to put these aside and either do another video on them. I'll probably take a look at them off camera a little bit, and I will update you if I find a fix for them. But for now, let's move on to the next PS5. PS5 number 2 needs the HDMI port replaced. This should be a fairly straightforward and easy repair, but you never know. Let's open it up and find out. I'll be using the iFixit Banta Precision bit set. It's got all of these bits and the 2 drivers. One of my favorite things about this set is the large driver. This works great for screws that are really tight. I also love that iFixit toolkits, at least most of them, come with magnets right on the top and bottom case, so they just snap together. You can also use this top case as a screw tray. The Manta Precision bit set has pretty much any bit that you're going to need to get into any device. I always love having the tool on hand when I need it, as that makes repairs much faster. To disassemble this PS5, I'm going to start out with the Torx TR8. Wow, there's already some dust built up into this PS5. So it's good we're taking this apart. It looks like it could already use a good cleaning. So you can see we got already a decent amount of dust buildup right in here. So this is just a reminder, make sure that your PS5 is off the floor and in a very well ventilated area and around as little air and dust as you can possibly put it. And also these heat sinks right here are also starting to get plugged up with dust. This is one of the main things that will cause overheating, so it's super important to make sure these don't get too plugged. Now we can get the motherboard loose. There we go. And here's the liquid metal on the PS5. We need to be careful with this, make sure it doesn't run all over this part of the heatsink, and also that it doesn't run all over this part of the APU. Luckily, there's not too much on the APU side, and the motherboard is the part we need to work on, so that shouldn't really be an issue. So this I'm just going to set aside and keep it nice and flat. Then when we go to put this all back together, I'll kind of just move the liquid metal over to the center, then squish the motherboard down on top of it. So the first thing I need to do is remove this whole port, so I'm going to be using my hot air station to heat up these large pins on the edge, and then also the small pins down on the back of the port on the other side of the board. Once that's done, we can install one of these brand new PS5 HDMI ports, and this will go right up into these same mounting holes, and then the little pins will get soldered back onto the motherboard. So we have our port mounted in here very nicely. We need to add a little bit of solder here and a little bit of solder here. Then we need to solder on all of these small pins. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to add some flux, then get my micro soldering pencil in here and solder each one of these down to the pad on the motherboard.
A record-breaking heat wave hits the U.S. with no power at home.
Tom's life has continued on as normal.
And there we go. Each of these pins is soldered on very solidly. We also got some extra solder down in the holes along the mounting posts. So this HDMI port is on here very solidly. Now there are a couple things on this port that I probably could have done a little bit better, but it's going to work just fine and it's not going anywhere. Let me know down in the comment section the things you see that I could have done better. Let's get this motherboard back in and test it. So this liquid metal, I want more sort of in the center of this heatsink. So let me show you how easily this moves around. So you can see just with me lifting it up, it's very, very liquid. Just gonna make a little trail for it. There we go. Alright, and that's where we want it. Now I can get the motherboard installed down on it and get this thing all put back in the chassis. So now we can clean the heat sinks on this PS5. And that is looking much better. Now we need to address all the dust inside this mid-frame. And there we go, all clean. I don't have to worry too much about it being perfect as it is just the inside of the PS5. I just don't know this dust blowing around in the system and getting caught up in those heat sinks. Now let's get the motherboard sandwich back in, and then we can clean up the fan. Now let's see if this PS5 will turn on, and if it showed something up on the screen. So, was I successful on my first ever PS5 HDMI repair? Let's find out. Yes, success! We have this PS5 up and working. That's PS5 number 2. Let's move on to the next PS5, and I'll get this all tested off camera. Number 2 has been fixed. I was able to test it fully off camera, and everything worked good that I tested. So next we're going to move on to number 6. The screen is blinking quickly, and then major graphics problems. So I've done a little bit of research for fixing PS5 number 6, and I think really probably the best bet is installing the PS5 full system software. So I'm going to go into save mode and reinstall the software and see if that helps us out any. So I've got the system software installed from a USB stick, and unfortunately I can already see the screen blinking. So I think number 6 probably has a faulty APU, unfortunately, which is not replaceable. So this one I'll use for parts, and we'll move on to the next PS5. We have 2 of them that beep but have no power, number 8 and number 13. I'm going to save those ones for last. Let's move to number 12. It has a black screen with artifacts. I think I already know what I'm going to find out here, but let's check it out anyway. So now number 12 doesn't have any of the artifacts, and it doesn't have a black screen, especially doing a software update. I was kind of wondering when I first tested this, I almost felt like maybe the HDMI cable wasn't plugged in all the way, or it was dirty or something. But for whatever reason, it does seem to be working now, so that's great news. I am going to have to test this several more times to make sure that problem doesn't come back. But right now, I'm going to get it all set up and make sure everything else works. Both started up, and then we get the exact same thing. Black screen with a bunch of glitches. Unfortunately, PS5 number 12 is not going to be fixable. I'm pretty sure it's another one with a graphics issue, probably from the APU. But luckily, we do need parts. For the next two, I'm going to look at the two that beep but don't power on. I'm guessing we're going to need a power supply, so I'm going to get the one out of this one and use it on those to test them. I have my known good harvested power supply. Now I need to get number 8 and number 13 taken apart so we can test them with a good power supply. And here we are with number 8. This one has obviously been taken apart. The warranty sticker has been obviously removed. It's also missing some screws. Who knows what we're going to find inside this one.
Dream job? Sounds perfect. But this is so long.
Got a connector that's messed up. The power supply in this one may be just disconnected or something. And here's that disk drive connector that was smashed in there. I think we can just bend it back over. Yeah, that looks good. It's also bent a little bit here. Once we get that connector plugged in, though, that should be fine. This cable also, I don't know if they've messed this one up. Oh, that looks fine. Okay, so this cable's still fine. That's good news. And out with the old, and in with the new. Or I shouldn't say new, in with the known good. Now I'm just going to get this put back together and see if it works. Okay, it's back together enough to test. Is it going to work? Okay, we got the eject button working. Let's try the power. Come on. Oh, not gonna work. So as you can see, I pressed the power button and nothing at all happens. So clearly the power supply isn't the issue. But what is the issue? I'm gonna need to take this all the way back apart and see if we can figure this one out. So I've been testing the motherboard on this to see if I can figure out why it's not getting power or why it will beep and then not power on. Now I compared this good motherboard with this motherboard, and there's just no problems on this main power rail. All of it seems to be working perfectly. There are no shorts and there are no open circuits. So then the next thing I did was go to my FLIR thermal camera and look at them starting up on the FLIR. When I look at the known good motherboard, I can see the SSD controller light up, then the south bridge light up, and then the APU light up. On this bad motherboard, I do see the SSD controller light up, then the south bridge light up, but I never see the APU light up. So I'm guessing it may be a problem with the south bridge, but that's just a guess, as it could be several other chips on this motherboard as well. Unfortunately, none of the big manufacturers publish schematics for this type of motherboard, so there's just no way for me to track it down to the exact failure point because I just have nothing to go on. The PS5 motherboard is very large and has multiple layers, so in a lot of cases there's just no way to track stuff like this down, especially when it's all brand new and I haven't had a chance to diagnose very much on them yet. Now, given that the PS4 did have quite a few problems with the south bridge, I think what I'm going to do on this one is try to reflow the south bridge. If that works, great. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to have to call this motherboard not fixable for now, but I will keep it around and I will update you guys if I find the fix. But first, let's try reflowing this south bridge and see if that happens to get it working.
Start it up.
The south bridge has been fully reflowed. You saw near the end where I bumped it with my tweezers and saw that it did move just a little bit. So that's the way I know that all the solder balls underneath are melted. Now I can try and turn it on and see what happens. These LEDs over here, what I'm watching, if they turn on, that means we might have fixed this one. Let's find out. Bummer. Still nothing on those LEDs. So at this point, I suspect maybe the APU is faulty. This was a big problem with the PlayStation 4, but it also could be some of these smaller chips around the board. I don't know where exactly the power flow is on this because, like I said, there is no schematic, but as these age and repair people like me figure them out, then I might have a chance to fix this one in the future. So we have one more PS5 left. It is PS5 number 13, and it has a very similar problem to this one. Hopefully this one's fixable. I'd love to end it on a positive note, but let's find out. And here we have PS5 number 13, all torn down. I've got it hooked up to power. One of the things I noticed that number 8 was missing was this gray piece right here, this thermal pad. So that tells me somebody obviously had been in it and had removed it for some reason. I don't know that that had anything to do with the main problem we were having, but it also is possible. These pads help these RAM chips on the other side of the board stay cool, so that always is a possibility for something that might be wrong. Now that I have number 13 hooked up to a known good power supply, let's see if it powers on. I hope this one powers on. I'd love to get another one working. Let's find out. Once again, we're watching these LEDs over here, and here we go. Oh, and no LEDs. Okay, I'm going to hook up my thermal camera and see if this one does the same thing as number 8. Okay, and we got it all hooked up. Let's see what happens with the temperatures when I try to power it on. So I'm seeing exactly the same thing as on number 8. The SSD controller gets warm, then the south bridge gets warm, but nothing else on the entire board does. So unfortunately, until I have more to go on, number 8 and number 13 PS5s are both going to be not fixable for now. So out of 13 broken PS5s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that are working, and several of the rest of these probably will be fixable at some point, but I just don't have enough information to fix them right now. Obviously, a lot of you are probably wondering what I'm going to do with these. I've actually already sold several to my channel members and to my Patreon members. I've got a couple more I'm going to sell there. I might sell some on eBay, and then the rest of these I'm going to keep around and see if I can fix them in a future video. If you like this video, you'll probably like the one where I tried to fix 8 broken PS5 DualSense controllers. I'll put a link up on the screen so you can come hang out with me over there and see if I can fix those. Thank you to iFixit for sponsoring this video. I'll put a link down in the description if you'd like to buy some of their tools. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good one.
Experience an incredible selection of the latest equipment, clothing, shoes, and accessories. Plus a dedicated team of certified fitters and construction professionals ready to help. Golf Galaxy has everything you need to start your season. Better your bag with the latest golf clubs from top brands. Find the fairway with the best drivers. Attack greens with your irons. Seek more putts with the right putter. And get tour-level performance with Top Golf.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. I bought 5 broken Xbox Series X consoles on eBay. Let's get them unboxed and see what all's wrong, and I'll answer your questions along the way. This first Xbox Series X didn't come in a retail box. We've got some glue on the front that should be easy to get off. And it definitely has been taken apart before. At least these 2 screws have been taken apart, and the seal has been broken here. So somebody's tried to fix this one already. We'll get to the diagnosis here in a minute. Let's get to the next Xbox. Hey, this one looks like it actually comes with all of the retail packaging. And does it have a this one comes with the controller as well. Controller is in nice condition. It has batteries in it. Okay, cool. Now let's check out the console. On the side of the box, this one does say no power. We'll be able to test that in just a minute here. Let's see what kind of condition it's in. All right, and we have one that has not been taken apart and is in pretty good condition. Ah, that doesn't sound good. Let's see what we got inside here. Okay, here's the console. Okay, that looks like probably just some batteries rolling around. No big deal. So the controller on number 3 got some scuff. This controller has definitely been used. Got some scuff, scratches, not been taken apart. That's good news. Already got some finger cheese in the crack. That's gross. And here we go with number 4. Console just kind of loose in there. Interesting shipping method. Do have a controller, cool. And we got the cables. And the controller looks to be in decent condition. Let's check out the console. And another one that has not been taken apart. That's always good news for me. Okay, pretty good condition. And here we have Xbox Series X number 5. And we have another controller and console. And the controller looks pretty good. Definitely used, but looks to be in good condition. And the Xbox itself is also in great condition and has not been taken apart. Now that we've gotten a look at all 5, let's plug them in and see what's wrong. So let's try Xbox number 1 and see what happens. Makes noise, that's good. Let's see if it comes up on the screen. Okay, we do get a picture on the screen. So everything seems working fine on Xbox number 1. I'm going to put a disc in and see what happens. Okay, and the disc comes up and it's installing so far. Everything seems normal with Xbox number 1, so this is great news so far. I will do more testing on this later, but for now, let's move on to Xbox Series X number 2. And here we go with number 2. Okay, we definitely have no power. Okay, let's move on to number 3 and see if we can figure out what's going on with number 3. Okay, for number 3.
Immerse yourself in the world totally without someone saying naturally take a bite out of plastic without the world totally moisture.
Hey everyone, I'm Kale Ziegler, Dr. Ziegler, Kale Staff. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the central part of any agricultural machine, the turbocharger. As we prepare for the spring planting season, it's crucial to ensure our equipment is not blocked.
In this video, we're going to cover the essential tips for maintaining and repairing your turbocharger, so you can keep the machine running smoothly all season long.
Before we dive into the maintenance, let's quickly understand how the turbocharger works.
The turbocharger uses exhaust gas to spin a turbine and compresses the intake gas.
This process increases engine horsepower and efficiency. Parts include a turbine, a compressor, and an intercooler.
However, our tractor is a little bit older than the intercooler days, so we don't have one.
Here we are at the newer tractor. This is what your intercooler would look like if you have one on your tractor. Knowing these components will help you understand what to look for during maintenance. Regular maintenance is key to extending the life of your turbo.
Here's a few checks that you do routinely. On this tractor, this is where you check the engine oil. Pull the dipstick out. We just changed the oil, so it's really not too dirty, but you can see contaminants on it in the light. Yeah. This tractor has a oil plug here. That's the magnetic oil plug. And if there's anything going wrong in the engine or turbo, you'll find metal filings on that plug. That's the drain oil. The engine or inspect the turbo. It's going bad. There's contaminants in there. That's telling you something. Yeah. And make sure you use the correct grade of oil. This one is 15W40 and recommended on all the older diesel tractors. Key to engine longevity is keeping your oil clean, and that includes proper filters on your tractor. The tractor has 2 oil filters, a primary filter and a secondary. So on our filters, we write how many hours we're on the tractor and how many hours the hydraulic filter has been. You want to keep your air filter clean and not dirty and fogged, because it reduces the flow of the air to your turbocharger, and as it gets fogged, it'll reduce the performance of your turbocharger and actually lead to failure of the turbocharger. So here's your intake pipe to the turbo. It keeps your air clean to make sure that the air coming into the turbo that's going out into your intake manifold is clean.
Okay, for number 3, let's see if it starts up. Okay, it is starting up. Let's see if we get something on the screen. So far, nothing on the screen. I'm going to test the disc while we're testing that. Okay, it does pull the disc in. The disc does seem to be spinning up normally, but unfortunately, we still have no picture, so that seems to be the problem with number 3. Let's move on to number 4. Okay, and here we go, number 4. Bummer, no power on number 4. And now time for number 5. Okay, and here we go, number 5. Let's see what happens. Okay, startup chime, that's good. Oh, looks like we get a power on and off issue. So it looks like number 5 is powering on and then right back off. Now that we have some ideas of what's going on with each of these, it's time to take a look at each one and get them taken apart. So let's start out by testing Xbox Series X number 1. So when I first tested this first Xbox, everything worked fine and I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Now when I just try to power it on, it won't even turn fully on. It will make the beep like it's going to turn on, but then it won't actually turn on and the light doesn't come on. So I think the first thing we need to do is put in a new power supply, one that we know is good, and see if that will fix the problem. Now the good news so far is it looks like nothing in here has been taken apart. There's no marks on any of these screws. So whoever had this apart, I think, just took the back cover off and then probably didn't go any further. So that's great news. That means that likely nothing in here has been messed with. But now it's time to get down to this power supply and put a known good one in there and see if that'll fix it. So I randomly just decided to try and turn it on again. And now it's working just fine. I'm not sure what I would have done that would have changed it. I don't see anything I would have done that would make it work randomly. So now I'm not sure what to think of this one. Oh, there we go. Now it's doing the same thing. Okay, so it did turn on several times, but now you can see it's back to doing the exact same thing. So what I'm going to do is get more of this apart, and then once I have all the guts out of the middle, then I'll actually try and start it up with it just sitting on my bench once I have all the pieces out, and then we'll see what it does. Okay, and now we have this Xbox out of its enclosure. Let's try and turn it on. Definitely not. It is making some noise over here, though. I'm going to get my microphones up close, so hopefully you'll be able to hear that. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tick or a pop right in here. Let's try one more time. Okay, and this time we actually get a light right here. So this time it's actually fully turning on. You don't want it to turn it on too long. Oh, there it goes off. I don't want to have it on too long because we don't have a fan on here. That is interesting, though. It'll randomly turn on and off. So I feel like the chances of it being just the power supply are probably not good. I almost feel like maybe there's something going on in here. But it could be still a power supply. There is a possibility that maybe it's not sending enough power into the motherboard. So I'm still going to try and put a new, known good power supply in this and then see what happens there. Now I've got a known good power supply installed in this Xbox Series X. I know that because I usually make very clever markings such as good. So I know that it is indeed a good power supply. So now I'm going to try and turn it on and see if it'll stay on. So far so good. I'm going to try and turn it back off and turn it back on several times and see if it works normally or if it turns off on its own like it was doing. So with this known good power supply, this Xbox Series X is working flawlessly. I've turned it off and on several times, and there have been absolutely no problems. It's staying on the whole time, unlike when we had the other power supply in that I think is probably faulty. So let's take that power supply apart and see if we can figure out what's going on with it. And I have to start off this segment by saying, please don't mess with power supplies on your own. These things can give you a very bad shock, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt yourself very badly, so just please don't try this at home. I, however, am a trained YouTube professional, so I'm gonna dig in. That was just a joke. I have lots of experience outside of YouTube, which is why I'm opening this power supply. So now I have to try and remove this top cage. We've got these plastic clips right here that we need to disengage. Now we need to remove this bottom plastic from the top plastic. And there we go. Now we have the inside of the power supply open, and we can start diagnosing it. I can tell you right now, this power supply looks different than the other known good power